Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so today we're doing something a little different.
Mm,
I want you to picture this. We're traveling back in time. It's a Wednesday night, August 25th, 1965.
very specific. I like it.
It is. And the vibe is, it's quiet, a little chilling maybe,
Mm.
but intimate. We're sitting in on a session.
And this session is about that thing we all do, or try to do, for about a third of our lives.
Sleep. We're talking about sleep. But really, we're talking about dreams.
Right, and not just as random brain movies. The idea here is that the dream world is a place, a real place.
A foreign country that we visit every single night, but we're taught to be afraid to remember it.
And our guide for this little trip is session 181 of the early sessions, book 4 of the Seth Material.
An incredible source. But before we get into it, we have to do the housekeeping.
We do. We need to state for the record that this deep dive is distributed completely free of charge. It's on all major platforms, and it's for educational purposes only.
We're here to explore these ideas, that's it. So let's set the mission. My role here is a guy who loves to sleep. But, I always feel a little guilty about it, like I'm wasting time.
And that's exactly the mindset that Seth is trying to dismantle in this session.
So our goal is to unpack why our ego, that little voice in our heads, is so terrified of our inner self.
And how to stop, as you said, wasting a third of our lives. Because according to Seth, you're actually working pretty hard when you're napping.
I knew it. I knew I was being productive.
Well, before we get ahead of ourselves, a big thank you to the publisher, New Awareness Network, for keeping this material available.
Absolutely. So let's start with the big guy, the ego.
Okay, because when we say ego now, we mean something totally different. We think, arrogance.
That guy has a huge ego. Yeah.
But that's not what Seth means at all. He's redefining it. The ego isn't bad. It has a very specific job.
Which is what?
He says, and I'm quoting here, the ego skims the topmost surface of reality and experience.
Skims the surface. That sounds kind of shallow.
It sounds shallow, but listen to the rest. It must of necessity be focused within the confines of physical reality.
Oh, okay. So it's a security guard.
I like that. Go on.
The security guard's job is to watch the front door. He needs to know about the cars, the people, the weather outside. He can't be worried about the blueprints of the building.
His focus is entirely on the immediate physical environment for survival.
Right. And that's the ego's job. But the problem, Seth says, is that the guard thinks the lobby is the entire universe.
Exactly. And he says this is particularly an issue for Western man. We train our egos to be super rigid.
We give the guard a very strict rule book. If it's not on the list, it's a threat.
And what's not on the list? Intuitions, psychological experiences, anything that can't be, touched or measured.
So when our inner self sends up a memo from the basement,
The ego shreds it. It sees it as a threat to survival, an unknown.
and this causes, what does he call it? Unnecessary struggles.
Entirely unnecessary. The ego ends up fighting its own source of power because it's scared of the dark.
That's really sad, actually. It's trying to protect us, but it's cutting us off.
And that leads to this next idea, which is so powerful, the idea of physical reality as a rock.
Yeah, this part got me. Physical reality is a rock to which the ego must cling,
Cling, it's such a desperate word.
and from which it achieves its power, energy, position, and reason for existence.
Take away that rock, and the ego is, what does he say? Naked and in an unfamiliar environment.
Which is the dream state.
Precisely. In a dream, gravity is optional. Time is a suggestion. Your childhood home can be a spaceship. For the ego, that's not fun. It's an existential crisis.
It's pure chaos, so that's why we forget them.
It's not an accident. Seth says it's an act of repression. The ego sees no survival value in flying or talking to your dead grandmother.
It's junk data or dangerous data,
Yeah.
so it hits delete.
Right. But he does say this distrust it's necessary for balance. You can't be hallucinating while driving a car. We need that anchor.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I appreciate my ego on the freeway.
But we've gotten too anchored. So we need to establish diplomatic relations.
I love this. He says the ego can accept dream knowledge, like a message from a distant land in which he does not care to dwell.
That's the key. The ego doesn't have to move there. It just has to be willing to open the mail.
Just accept the package from the scary forest without assuming it's a bomb.
And the goal of the sessions is to train the ego to do just that, to be more flexible. And to do that, Seth promises to map this exotic country.
A map, which
Yeah.
implies it's a real place. It has terrain and rules. It's not just random neuron firings.
It's an objective reality. And on that map, there are resources, answers, inspiration, balance.
He's basically a cartographer for consciousness. I love that. And then he has this funny moment where he just dismisses class early.
Yeah. He says he's doing it out of the goodness of his heart so they can relax.
That shows his personality. He understands human fatigue, which is ironic, given what he says next about sleep.
The great myth of wasted time.
This part is huge for our, hustle culture, this idea that sleep is lost productivity.
Seth flips it completely. He says, "It is amazing how man regrets the hours spent in sleep, for he does not realize how hard he works when his ego is unaware."
How hard he works. So what are we doing?
We're solving problems, achieving goals, weaving the tapestry of our experience. The work we do in the dream state supports the work we do in the waking state.
So that feeling when you wake up and an answer is just there.
You did the work. You just don't remember the meeting.
Security guard was asleep, but the rest of the building was pulling an all-nighter.
Exactly. And the ultimate goal is for a shadow of the ego to eventually feel at home there, to not be afraid.
Wow. So let's recap the deep dive. The ego isn't a villain, just a scared security guard.
Right? And dreams aren't nonsense. They're a distant land with valuable resources.
And most importantly, sleep is not wasted time. It's productive work.
The goal is just to train the ego to accept the mail.
Okay, so here's the provocative thought to leave you with. If you spent 8 hours a day working a second vital job in another country, wouldn't you want to remember what you did?
And more importantly, wouldn't you want to bring your paycheck home?
That's what you're missing when you ignore your dreams. You're leaving the paycheck on the table.
If you want to learn more, you have to go to the source. We're just scratching the surface.
For sure. Please study the Seth Material books. This session is from the early sessions.
And you can find them by visiting the New Awareness Network website and bookstore. The address is sethcenter.com/the early sessions.
That's sethcenter.com/the early sessions. It's so important to support the people who keep this material alive.
So tonight, when your head hits the pillow, you're not clocking out, you're clocking in.
The night shift is starting. Go get some sleep. You've got work to do.
And just one final reminder, this deep dive is distributed free of charge for educational purposes. Thanks for joining us.